Thank you for staying with us. Eid al-Adha, also known as the Festival of Sacrifice, is an important Islamic holiday celebrated by Muslims around the world in their millions. Now, this joyous occasion holds deep religious and cultural significance, and it commemorates the willingness of the Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son as an act of obedience to God. Is there more to it, or is that just it? Well, let's have conversations this morning with Barrister Alatoye Folorunso Azeez, who is the Amir Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of Nigeria. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Ayo, for having me.
Just to be clear.
All right.
This is the one that is called Ileya.
That's right.
Okay, in Yoruba.
That's right.
What does that mean?
You know, culturally, in the celebration of Eid in Yoruba area, that's when people travel, you know, from villages, to town to go and celebrate the sacrifice of the ram. And, all children are so happy about it that definitely Ileya. So, let's go home and celebrate at home.
But there are those who also say that the term "let's go home" was actually something that Ibrahim said to his son after, that initiative, God rescued him and all of that.
That was the origin of the adoption here. Because when Almighty Allah tried Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his only son, Asrat Ishmael, he actually woke up and he was going to fulfill that, to go and sacrifice him. He told him actually that this is what I have seen. And the son said, do what God has asked you to do. He also told the mother said, do what God has told you to do. So all of them, they unanimously agreed. And they got to the point where he actually wanted to slaughter, when Allah said, stop that. You fulfilled your promise. And now see that ram, take it and take it home. And so that is where let's go home, first started. Okay. But we've adopted it now that, so where is ram? Let's tie it to, the truck that is carrying us home, and then let's go home to sacrifice in commemoration of Asrat Ibrahim.
I'm wondering if any woman today would just tell the husband that kind of thing. And God says that he should sacrifice her son. The woman will just say, do what God has told you to do. Yes. I'm wondering if that
is going to be difficult, and that is actually, symbolic now for obedience to God by all arms of humanity. That is the message. We who are fathers, we must obey God. Elders, the women fold must obey God. And the children must also obey God if we want a very peaceful nation, a truthful nation. It is beyond having faith. They have faith in God, right? And God knows that the three of them have faith in him, no doubt. But that faith must be put into action. And that is the message. It's not about killing of ram or eating of ram. No. It is the messages that surrounds it. And there are a lot of messages. The first thing is truly knowing that God is somebody that we must submit to, and that he's going to provide for us. He won't suffer us. He might just test us a little bit. But if we have trust in him, then he's going to provide for us. We don't have to steal. We don't have to cheat. We don't have to extort. See that God gave Abraham a ram. And these are the kind of things that we are supposed to use to sacrifice. You don't use somebody else's property to sacrifice. You don't embezzle money and say you are sacrificing. The goat doesn't belong to you. Ram doesn't belong to you. Cow doesn't belong to you. So you are not sacrificing. In Islam, you are not. And the Holy Quran was very clear, about that.
Now, on the day of the Eid prayers, it's usually said before noon.
Yes.
Why is that importance? What's the importance of that on that day?
Yes. It is actually very important, and that signifies the remembrance of Allah in all that Muslim will be doing, and that's all over the world. The beginning of everything we do is actually the remembrance of Allah. And that is why you have the takbir that we raise to the Eid, which is usually done in the morning, because there's going to be fasting early in that morning for those who are going to kill ram, not to eat before the prayers. And that is why it has to come in the morning. Even if it is afternoon, we will still have to do it, but it comes in the morning because Allah do not even stress us. And while we are going to eat, we will be raising what we call takbir. Takbir means praising Allah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahi alhamd. It means Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. And unto Him only should we be praising. That is, everything we will be doing should be as if we are seeing Allah, both in the day and at night. And if you are doing something and you believe that Allah is seeing you, will you want to do any evil? Not at all. One will be very afraid. And so that is the message of the prayers that day. And if you also see it, we raise takbir first time, apart from the first one, we raise 7. Second time, we rose up, we raise another 5, is to remind us that Allah must be remembered in everything we do in life. And with that, there will be peace.
Now, how about the key ritual, which is sharing of the meat to families, friends, and those in the community?
Very good. That's another key message. If we take them, bit by bit, and I love the way, you are compartmentalizing them so that we will focus on each of them. That's another aspect of it. Sharing of ram is into 3, broadly. The first one is for one and his family, your immediate and extended family. So that is one aspect. The second one is for your neighbor and your friends. You can't have a friend who is not celebrating and you say you are celebrating. No. Then the third one is for the needy and the poor.
In the community.
In the community, in the whole community. And there should be no one who will not be celebrating on that day. Because Allah says in the Holy Quran, وَمِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ لِلسَّائِلِينَ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. In the wealth of those who have, are for those who can ask and for those who are not able to ask. There are some people who will ask you, but there are some people who will not be able to ask. Your neighbor, out of dignity, will probably not be able to ask you. Some people are jovial. It's not everybody that is jovial. Some are shy, by their nature. You have to do a very good pack and go and give them as well. In fact, a cooked one with rice and, meat, and give them so that everybody can be happy that day. And if it's cut across the whole country, then there shouldn't be anyone that is not happy, that day. So the salah ram is not something that somebody will say, okay, me and my family will eat, then we boil the rest, we keep it in the fridge or the freezer till, beyond 3 days. No, we can't do that. And some people used to do salt meat or things like no.
Before we go to the other key rituals, okay. What is amazing is that the larger Muslim Ummah around the world, yes, they observe the same ritual and tradition.
That's right.
What does that emphasize?
That emphasizes, the universality of the message of humanity. Let me put it that way. All over the world, both in Nigeria, in Mecca, in the US, in Canada, everywhere. The universality, number one, we must put God first in everything we do. That's number one. We must also put forward the act of sacrifice for the purposes of humanity, of all categories of humanity. And this should not be only one country. And that is the reason, it has to be for the whole world. We also believe, the Holy Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is sent to the whole world so that there can be peace, all over the world. And let me also clarify, because there is a little bit of misconception about the right of self-defense, that some people are now misusing for selfish interest. No. Apart from the right of self-defense in law, which is in the constitution of all countries, the right of self-defense, which the Holy Prophet exercised, apart from that, no human being, especially Muslim, can attack another Muslim or another individual. It must be all peaceful. And this is what this message also, teaches us, that globally, we must have sacrifice. You can't be sacrificing to somebody and still fighting that person. There is a mismatch. It is wrong, So it's a universal message of love. Sharing of meat, eating meat, everybody smiling, drinking, enjoying, non-alcoholic drinks anyway. So everybody happy that day, worldwide. So because according to Islam, human being is only one race. And this one race belongs to God.
Okay.
And we should all be happy.
I'd like to emphasize a little more on that peace conversation. But before that, what are the other key rituals, if I can use that term, that come with this holiday?
Okay. One of the key ritual that I want us all to know is, like when we are going to Eid, we will be praising Almighty Allah. It is teaching us a lesson that in our life, in our movement all around, we must always remember Allah. Because the fear of God in all we do is the beginning of wisdom. Then that automatically it will get to a point where we will find it difficult to even be associated with anything evil. Because you can't belong to God at the same time belong to God. No, you belong to only one. So sometimes there are that message of confusion that people will say, okay, we are people of God, yet they will be doing something that is ungodly. No, that is falsehood. That is deception. So that takbir that we raise is a ritual, but it reminds us that at all time we should be godly. And also, we also remind, ourselves of Allah for 5 days during this Hajj period. For instance, today, one of the rituals in Islam is stoning, of devil, which Asrat Ibrahim did. That's another aspect of ritual. This takbir that we raise for 5 days, the day of Arafat, the day of Eid, and then today, tomorrow, that people will be going to Jamra, where we'll be stoning the devil, is also symbolic. Apart from all this, we, those of us who are in Nigeria that we are not there, we will be raising takbir to Almighty Allah and all over the world, remembering Allah. And again, symbolic for those who are stoning Shaitan at Mecca, because Asrat Ibrahim, when Shaitan came to him, don't slaughter your son. He said, Auzubillahi minash shaitan, stone him, 7 pebbles, threw it to him. He moved a little bit again. He came to him, threw another 7 to him, selected them. For the 3rd time he came, threw it to him again. That's why you have those 3 pillars that we stone those 3 pillars. Those who are at Hajj right now, they will have started the stoning yesterday. They will also stone today. They will also stone tomorrow. They are rituals. However, what is the message to us? Why throwing stone at something? Throwing stone means that we are throwing stone at the devil. So in Nigeria here, we should throw stone at devil, not only to say it with word of mouth that Auzubillahi minash shaitan rajim. Now we send shaitan away. Then you can't behave in the satanic way. So that is another ritual that we must all remember, that we must throw stone at devil at all time. Men must throw stone at devil. Women must throw stone at devil. And our children, we should also train them to throw stone at devil, so that at any time, devil will not have chance in our place.
Okay. Now, about peace, the president in his message, he was accosted by pressmen.
That's right.
And one of the things that everyone heard him say was that we should, of course, clamoring for peace, hopeful in Nigeria. But he mentioned specifically that we should remember our troops, the soldiers on the front line.
Yes.
Aside from praying for them, how do you think we can do that in a way that the armed forces, fighting in the land, air, and sea, can feel encouraged?
It's a bit complex, but it's very simple to me. We must be very honest, we must be very sincere, and we must demonstrate the correct spirit of sacrifice that those soldiers are sacrificing. Unfortunately, the soldiers sacrifice their life on the front line, but I'm not too sure. I'm not seeing that level of sacrifice from the nation backing them up. It's like we are pushing them forward to war front, but we are turning back from them and leaving them alone. We all have to be very loyal, and that is the message that this Idul Adha has taught to us. It's not only the father that has to be loyal, it's not only the son that will be pushed to the war front. All of them unanimously agree that we must do what is right. We must support all the soldiers. We can't send them to the war front and not give them the right support. And when I say the right support, I don't mean only ammunition. All citizens of the country must stand by them. We can't be colluding with bandits, terrorists, turning them against the soldiers. Any member of the citizen, whether in government or outside the government, that is so ungodly, and that is lack of sense of sacrifice. Because as they are sacrificing themselves, we also have to sacrifice ourselves by supporting them fully. I can't see that support for them. And a lot of them, are dying. Still, they are still committed. And that is why, sometimes people used to think, these military people, no, we have to do beyond what we are doing. I also have that very strong belief. We must provide very strong support to them. It's another subject matter that we need to be looking at.
As you were speaking, is the question that comes to my mind, Barrister, is we can't legislate patriotism, can we?
No, not at all. I agree.
How do we champion that?
We need to do a lot of the national orientation. And I must agree with Mr. President that we must provide that support. Just as Mr. President had said it, that is what every Nigerian must say. And that is what every Nigerian must support. I agree with you, you cannot legislate behavior. So we cannot legislate, patriotism, that it is expected that we will all be patriotic, and we will all be loyal, and we will all be committed. And that is where we started this conversation. The father was patriotic, was committed to the family, because he didn't allow Shaitan to come and break the family. The woman did not allow Shaitan to come and break the family. The son did not allow Shaitan to come and break the family. And that is where patriotism and nationhood, comes in. So, and that is exactly what I am saying, that everyone must demonstrate commitment to the unit family, and by so doing, to the nation. And that is what we need to be able to provide support to our military, people.
Well, I don't know if this is on a lighter note, but the festivities have always been linked to consumerism. Particularly in this age of economic topsy-turvy.
That's right.
How best can one observe the festival without being excessive?
Yeah, I think this time around we have to be moderate, to be very honest. We have to be moderate because the reality is that cost of things, are a bit high nowadays. So I have told, people a number of times, especially during advise to people that we should all demonstrate a sense of sacrifice, and if you are able to kill ram, fine, kill within your means. Don't go and start borrowing money that, because people must know that my ram is always a very big one. No. Of course, you have something to even connect it with. You know that it was flood in Niger, and so the rams are not coming. So this is one I am able to. So on a lighter note, you can also, of course, the price is high this year. So we should cut our coat according to our cloth. That's one of the lessons even of these Ramadan, these Eid al-Adha. We shouldn't do, beyond. And those who Allah has blessed, they should spread things out this time around, even beyond where they normally do it. Because quite a lot of people will not be able to ask. But, but on a lighter note, how are you celebrating, you drop, quite a number of things, and they will be very happy. So, and that is what we need to do for this Eid al-Adha.
Finally, again, you spoke about peace earlier.
Yes.
These days, in many parts of the world, we have all kinds of disagreements. And some of those disagreements are based on religious differences. So what message do you think we can learn and take on from this festival to ensure harmony?
Let me come in to say that those disagreements were not and are not and will not be based on religious disagreements. They are based on ego. They are based on sense of personal supremacy or group supremacy, and they are based on probably envy or selfishness. And I will explain that. What is religion? That's the question. The Holy Prophet Muhammad said, Adeno Nasia. Religion is good conduct, and that's all. Religion is not about I am this sect, I'm that sect. No. It is about good conduct, obedience to Allah, and good conduct. Go and pick all those crises one after the other. Apart from the right of self-defense, you will see that it's about fighting for supremacy. And that's what it is, fighting for resources, fighting for power. That's what you will find there. For instance, if it is Islam, Islam has only 5 pillars and 6 articles of faith. And the foundation of everything is believe in God, do good to humanity. There is no third one. If you also pick other religion, I'm not delving into Christianity, for example, is, accept that your God is one and love your neighbor. That's religion. So there is no evil there. Religion has no evil content. Evil belongs to the devil. Religion only teaches us that this act, the one you are looking at from that side, is devil. So the religious aspect is just to be godly and to do good to humanity. However, those who are fighting wars, what are they fighting for? Number one is that they are fighting for territories. They are fighting for land. Number two, they are fighting for wealth. Gold, Columbite and all these African quarries, and they are fighting, for that. And you also find out that a number of people are fighting for power, because you use power. For instance, if you look at some northern part of Nigeria, somebody declaring caliphate, that now this is not part of Nigeria. That's what they are fighting for. Tell me who is fighting for which pillar of Islam or which pillar of Christianity is anybody fighting for? With utmost respect. No.
All right. Well, we have to thank you very much. And let me believe that everyone else has picked a food for thought. One way or the other. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yes,
Bryce Alatoye, follower Azeez, Amir, Ahmadiyya, Muslim Jamaat of Nigeria. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.